There are dreams that are not just dreams. They don't come for you to simply witness and then forget. They appear at the final moment, like a secret signal that you are about to reach the greatest turning point of your life. People often dismiss such dreams, believing they are nothing more than coincidence. But the truth is, nothing is coincidental. If you have ever awakened from a dream so vivid it haunted you, a radiant door, a long road, or a majestic mountain, and your body still trembled with the sensation from within the dream, then know this: it was not an illusion. It was a transmission from the quantum field, sent to you at the exact moment you needed it most. The problem is, too many people ignore it. They fail to realize that this dream is the final dream, the last signal before reality collapses into a turning point. And because they dismiss it, they lose the opportunity. They lose the call that was meant for them alone. In this video, I will take you deep into the secret of the threshold dream, the dream of the gateway. You will understand why it is different from ordinary dreams, why it repeats and why it chooses you. And more importantly, you will know what you must do when that signal appears. And stay until the end, because I will share with you a real case of a dream that was not merely a warning, but one that truly saved a life. But before we come to that story, we need to begin at the place where everything always starts: the dream that returns. Not every dream is ordinary. Some dreams come and go, fading in memory, dissolving like smoke in the morning air. But there are also dreams that refuse to leave you. They return again and again, clinging to you like a song stuck on repeat. They don't let you escape. And right there, you must understand one thing: recurring dreams are never random. They are signs. Imagine this: you close your eyes, and once more, the familiar scene appears. A radiant door, glowing with violet white light, stands tall before you. You cannot see what lies beyond it, but you know something important is waiting. Your heart races, a shiver rises in your body. You open your eyes, wake up, and your heartbeat is still pounding. Then the next night, or the next week, that dream returns. The third time, the fourth time. It keeps coming back, as if urging you to face it directly. This was exactly the experience of Daniel, a young engineer living in New York. For 3 months, he repeatedly dreamed of standing before the radiant door. He never stepped through. He only stood there in a state of tension, both fearful and eager. And then, on the day his boss unexpectedly offered him a new position, a risky project that, if successful, would elevate him to a whole new level, he immediately recalled the door in his dream. In that moment, he understood. The dream was not for observation, it was to prepare him for a choice. And when he agreed to step into the project, his life completely shifted onto a different path. Recurring dreams often carry the same symbol, the same scenario, the same emotion. That is the way consciousness, or perhaps the quantum field, sends a continuous transmission until you choose to listen. Each time the dream returns, it is like waves crashing against the shore, emphasizing the same message. Do not ignore this. This is your threshold. In psychology, recurring dreams are often explained as signs of unresolved issues in the subconscious. But if you stop there, you miss the true depth. Because when seen through the lens of quantum perspective, the recurring dream is also a point of convergence, a place where countless possibilities are contracting, preparing to collapse into a specific event in real life. In other words, that dream does not only reflect your mind, it signals a possibility about to become reality. And to transmit its message, the quantum field does not use language. It uses symbols, Mountains, doors, roads, flames, light, they are all codes. They are the visual language your brain can receive. Door equals transition. Mountain equals challenge and achievement. Long road equals a journey nearing completion. Light equals the explosion of awareness. You may call them metaphors, but in truth, they are wave codes, streams of information waves translated into images, repeated until you finally understand. What is striking is that recurring dreams often appear right before critical breakthroughs, career changes, relationships, turning points in life. They are the universe's way of sending you a reminder. Don't fall asleep. Don't miss this moment. Ask yourself, have you ever dreamed of the same scene so many times that it haunted you? Have you ever woken up with the feeling, this time it's more important than usual? If yes, then it was not random. You have received a transmission. The returning dream is not here for you to dismiss. It comes to tell you, you are very close to the threshold, very close to the breakthrough. You may deny it once. You may doubt it twice. But if the dream still returns a third, a fourth time, then the truth is you can no longer ignore it, because the recurring dream is proof that you have been called, that you are standing in the overlap zone where possibilities are contracting into a single reality. This is the first sign. This is the repeated knocking. And you know, when someone keeps knocking too many times and you still don't open, it means something urgent is waiting outside. But recurring dreams are only the opening act. They are the activation signal, gentle but persistent. So when they appear, what do they truly mean at a deeper level? Do they merely reflect your mind? Or are they evidence that the quantum field is actively observing and sending messages to you? The answer will make you shiver. When you dream, your mind drifts through countless images, memories, and fragments of emotion. Many dreams are merely a chaotic rearrangement of things you experienced during the day. But there are dreams that are entirely different. They stand out. They carry weight. They leave within you a reverberation that random dreams never create. Those are signal dreams, signs. And the truth is, they are never random. Recall the time you dreamed a scene so real that upon waking, your body still carried that sensation. Your heartbeat was still fast. Your hands were still sweaty. You couldn't dismiss it as mere imagination. In that very moment, your subconscious knows this is a sign. So what makes sign dreams different from ordinary dreams? The answer lies in the interaction between consciousness and the quantum field. In the famous double-slit experiment, scientists discovered that electrons exist as waves, multiple possibilities at once, until there is an observer. That very moment of observation caused the wave to collapse into a specific position. The world is not fixed before you look at it. It only solidifies when consciousness intervenes. And in dreams, the same thing also happens. When you dream a signal dream, it is not just imagery. It is a moment of inner observation. Your consciousness looks at a possibility in the quantum field. A possibility important enough to collapse into a message. A signal dream is the selection of reality, forming right as you sleep. But here is the chilling part. If you think that you are the observer, then you may be mistaken. Because in quantum mechanics, there is a far more unsettling hypothesis. The quantum field observes you. What does this mean? Imagine that you are not the one actively pulling a possibility toward yourself. But the quantum field itself is casting its gaze upon you, choosing you, and sending you a signal that says, the time is approaching. In that dream, you are not the active agent. You are the one being called. When you receive a sign like that, it is not random. Remember, among the billions of dreams that could occur, why that dream? Why at that exact time? And why does it leave within you a special feeling you cannot deny? Because it was selected to come to you. This is also why many people say that the most important dreams in their lives never fade. One person dreams of missing a train, then wakes up and the very next day decides not to miss a business partnership opportunity. Another person dreams of a flame, then wakes up and understands that it is time to end a toxic relationship. Those dreams are not random. They are convergence points, where consciousness and the quantum field intersect. And once you receive a sign, you have two choices. Ignore it and let it drift into oblivion. Listen and step forward following the signal that has been sent. The difference between these two choices can determine the entire course of your life. Signs do not come to make you curious. They come to warn, to prepare, to awaken you right before a major event occurs. And if you do not listen, the consequence is not only a missed opportunity, it can also be the loss of the very path you were chosen to walk. Try looking deep within yourself. Have you ever had a dream, woken up and known that it was important, but ignored it? And then weeks or months later, you regretted not heeding that warning? If so, you will understand this truth. Signs are never random. They appear because the quantum field wants you to know that a possibility is about to collapse. They are the whispers of the universe, echoing right within your mind. And if you listen, you can move ahead of reality. But what if a sign is not something you observed, but is observed of you by the quantum field itself? There is a kind of dream that makes you wake up with a completely different feeling. No longer the vagueness or chaos of scattered fragments of memory, no longer the tiring repetition of trivial details from daily life. This dream is sharp, complete, and when you wake, you know for certain one thing. Something is about to happen. This is the threshold dream, the dream of the gateway. Threshold dreams often arrive at the moment you are standing in the midst of an important transition. They are not just images, but full-body experiences. You see, you hear, you feel. And most importantly, you carry that reverberation with you upon waking. It is like a sign etched deep into memory, telling you that you are standing right at the edge of a turning point. Imagine you are dreaming. Before you stands a towering mountain, its peak hidden in silver clouds. The path upward is steep and jagged, yet the light from above draws your eyes without letting you look away. In the dream, you don't just see the mountain. You feel the weight of every step, the pounding rhythm of your heart. And then, just as you are about to set foot on the summit, you suddenly wake. Your whole body trembles, but one thing you know for sure, something is approaching. A woman once shared that before she began a new journey, quitting her old job, leaving the city, and building an entirely different career, she repeatedly dreamed of standing before a door of light. She couldn't see what lay beyond, only that on the other side was a new world. Each time she awoke, she breathed heavily, her heart racing. Unable to shake the feeling, the time has come. And indeed, a few weeks later, she decided to change her life, stepping into a path she had never dared to imagine. The threshold dream is not a dream you choose. It chooses you. It appears when your energy has moved right to the brink of eruption, when the old timeline is about to collapse and a new one is about to open. In quantum mechanics, this moment is called the collapse point, the instant when countless coexisting possibilities contract into a single reality. The threshold dream is the vibrational signal of that collapse point, echoing into your subconscious before it becomes truth. The symbols in threshold dreams are often strikingly clear. The mountain symbolizes the final challenge before achievement. The radiant door represents transition, the moment you step beyond the comfort zone. The long road is the reminder that the journey is nearly complete, with only one last step remaining. And sometimes, it is nothing more than an unnameable shiver, as if your body had just been touched by a different frequency. What is remarkable is that the threshold dream does not only affect your mind, it imprints itself into your body. You wake up with your heart still pounding, your skin covered in goosebumps, your entire being as though it had just passed through a storm of energy. Other dreams may fade, but the threshold dream does not. It clings to you even with your eyes open, forcing you to ask, "Why did I dream this?" right at this moment. And you must understand, the threshold dream does not come to frighten you. It comes to prepare you. It reminds you that a door has opened. It warns that you are standing at the edge of a decision. And it urges you, do not miss it. If the recurring dream is the persistent knocking, then the threshold dream is the bell ringing to announce that the door is opening right now. It is the final touch before you step to the other side. Think back. Have you ever had a dream you simply could not deny? A dream that made you wake with certainty that something was about to change? If you have, then you already know the threshold dream is not a dream. It is an announcement. It is the final step. But here is what truly makes you shiver. It is not the dream itself that transforms you, but what happens after you wake. Not every dream is merely a metaphor. Some dreams go further than that. They do not only warn or imply, but truly save a human life. This is Michael's story, a rare example, but chilling enough that you can no longer consider dreams to be random. Michael, a 35-year-old man living in California, once recounted his strange experience. For weeks on end, he dreamed of a car accident. In the dream, the scene repeated. He was driving on a narrow bridge, it was raining, and suddenly a truck from the opposite direction barreled toward him. Each time, the dream ended with a horrific impact and darkness falling. Michael would often wake up in a cold sweat, his heart racing irregularly, unable to shake the fear. At first, he thought it was just a product of stress. But when the dream returned the fifth, the sixth time, Michael began to truly worry. The scene was too detailed, too consistent, too real to be merely an illusion. He told his wife, and she advised, "If it haunts you that much, change your driving habits for a while." A week later, when the rain was pouring, Michael was about to head to work. As usual, he planned to take the old bridge to save time. But the moment he placed his hands on the steering wheel, the dream surged into his mind. The bridge, the rain, the truck. He trembled, changed course, and chose the longer detour. And that very day, on the evening news, Michael heard the report. A serious accident had occurred on that bridge. A truck had lost control and plowed into the oncoming lane. Many were injured, some were killed. Michael sat in stunned silence, goosebumps covering his body. He knew that if not for those recurring dreams, he might have been among the victims. Michael's story is not the only one. History has recorded many similar cases. Dreams foretelling accidents, dreams warning of illness, dreams guiding people to avoid tragedy. And every time that happens, an unavoidable question arises. How can a dream know the future? This is when quantum mechanics offers an unusual perspective. In the quantum world, things are not as separate as we think. Particles can be quantum entanglement, meaning the state of one particle is bound to the state of another, even if they are thousands of kilometers apart. A change on one side is reflected instantly on the other. If the material world can be entangled, then why not human consciousness? What would happen if your mind were entangled with a future event? Perhaps Michael's dream was the backward-in-time reflection of a possibility already inscribed in the quantum field. His brain, in the dreaming state, unbound by linear time, picked up the signal from the future event. Think carefully. That dream was not random. It repeated, with the same details, until Michael changed his actions. The dream was not just a warning, it was an intervention. It was evidence that his consciousness had connected with a point in the future. And because of that, reality changed. This is what makes you pause and reflect. If a dream can save a person's life, then what else might your dreams be able to do? If a dream can connect you to an accident that hasn't happened yet, then it can also connect you to an opportunity that has not yet arrived. If it can pull you away from death, then it can also pull you into a turning point. And if that is true, the question for you is, will you consider your dreams to be illusions or signals? Not everyone dreams these dreams. Not everyone sees the radiant door, the mountain veiled in mist, or the endless road leading toward the collapse point. Signal dreams are not scattered randomly. They are not gifts meant for all. They appear only when there is selection. And if you have ever seen a threshold dream, understand this. You have been called. Look around. Millions of people dream each night. Most of those are nothing more than chaotic fragments of memory and emotion. But why is it that some people dream visions so vivid they haunt them, and afterward, their lives truly change? Because their consciousness has reached a certain level of resonance with the quantum field. And when the frequency matches, the transmission appears. In physics, resonance occurs when two oscillations share the same frequency, allowing energy to transfer more powerfully, more deeply, more clearly. In spirituality, you might call it the universe responds when you are ready. In quantum mechanics, it is frequency resonance, the moment your energy becomes compatible with a specific timeline. And when that alignment occurs, the dream appears like an open door, reminding you this is the path meant for you. A woman once shared that for many years, she lived in doubt, afraid to change. Until one night, she dreamed of standing between two roads, one familiar and dark, the other radiant but shrouded in fog. She woke knowing it was time to choose. She left her old job, stepped into an entirely new field, and her life soared. Why did that dream come to her at that exact time? Because her energy had finally matched the frequency of a new timeline. She was chosen to see the dream. This also explains why not everyone has threshold dreams. Because not everyone is at the right frequency to receive the transmission. Signal dreams are like radio waves. They are always there, but only when you tune to the right frequency do you hear the music. And if you hear it, if you see it, it is because you have been synchronized. Not by chance, not by illusion. That is selection. When you are chosen, the dream is not just a message, it is a calling. It marks that you are standing at the threshold, where a new possibility is preparing to collapse into reality. And the dream arrives to ask you, are you ready to step through? Be honest with yourself. Have you ever dreamed something so real, so sharp, that you knew it was different? If yes, then you are among the few. You are not lost in the sea of chaotic dreams. You have been chosen. And here is where the psychology becomes powerful. When you believe you have been chosen, you act differently. You become more alert, more attentive, more ready to seize opportunities that others miss. That is the power of selection. It does not only signal, it empowers. But there is another side. If you are chosen to see the dream, it also means you carry responsibility. You cannot pretend you did not know. You cannot deny the signal once it has been made clear. Thus, selection is both a gift and a burden. It is the reminder, this opportunity is not for everyone. It is for you. Do not miss it. So the next question is, if this dream appears only to those who match the frequency, are you among them? And if you are, what will you do with this gift and this responsibility? Dreams never speak to you in words. They don't write a clear letter, nor do they whisper directly into your ear in everyday language. Instead, dreams use symbols. And these symbols are not random. They are a form of encoding, a transmission code that the quantum field sends to you. Remember, your waking consciousness understands only a linear language, writing, speech, logic. But the subconscious and the quantum field operate differently. They communicate through images, vibrations, and metaphors. And the dream is the bridge between those two worlds. When you see a radiant door, it isn't a meaningless, pretty scene. It is the symbol of transition, the moment you are preparing to leave the comfort zone and step into a new reality. When you see a mountain, it is the image of the final challenge, signaling that you are about to reach the summit, about to break through. When you see a long road, it is the message that the journey is nearing its end, that you are arriving at the decisive bend. These images appear again and again in the dreams of many people across the world, transcending cultural and linguistic boundaries. Why? Because these are not personal symbols. This is a common code, a universal code that the quantum field uses to transmit information into the human mind. Imagine the quantum field as a vast wave field containing countless possibilities. When a possibility is about to collapse into reality, it emits a signal like a wave of data. But you cannot read that data in letters. Your brain can only translate it into images. And the result is the dream, a kind of wave code displayed through symbols you can understand. This also explains why many important dreams often feel surreal, not logical by everyday standards, yet leaving a powerful impression. You might see yourself standing in a desert, the sky cracking open, a glowing door rising in midair. That is not a random scene. That is quantum data, translated into the language of images for you to recognize. A man once recounted that, before his work changed completely, he dreamed he was carrying a gigantic key along a dark road. At the end of the road stood a great door, and only when he placed the key into it did the door burst open with light. Later, he realized that this was the code signaling that he was holding the key to a turning point, and when the opportunity arrived, he was alert enough to recognize and seize it. Here is what you need to understand. Every symbol in a threshold dream is a segment of code. Bright door, ill transition. Mountain is achievement, the final challenge. Long road is a journey nearing completion. Light is the opening of awareness. Shiver the frequency has matched. And when you see those symbols, it means the quantum field has transmitted code into your mind. What matters is this: whether you decode it or ignore it entirely is up to you. Some people wake and decide it was only meaningless fantasy, then let it drift away. Others understand that they have just received a transmission and they act. The difference between those two groups can determine who will break through and who will miss out. When you learn to see dreams as a form of code, you begin to notice that they form a logical sequence. Recurring dreams are the opening signal. The threshold dream is the gateway signal. And the transmission code is the inner language of this entire journey. It is like a map, indicating that you have been chosen and now you must act. You see, dreams are not random at all. They are not chaotic fragments. They are designed, sent, and encoded. But if these symbols are code, then you must ask a more important question. Who is writing that code? Is it your subconscious? Or is it the quantum field, a vast field of energy, directly transmitting messages into you? And if it is indeed the quantum field sending the message, then it means you are living in a reality in which the universe is deliberately communicating with you. There is a truth you cannot forget. Signal dreams do not come for you to behold. They come for you to act. If the recurring dream is the knock at the door, if the threshold dream is the warning bell, and if the transmission code is the language of the universe, then all of them lead to one point: what you must do with them. This is where urgency appears. The problem is, far too many people see the sign but ignore it. They wake up, feel a shiver, then reassure themselves. It was just a dream. They treat it like a trick of the mind, and so the opportunity passes or disaster arrives before they can prepare. That is the greatest mistake. Listen to Lara's story. She was a young entrepreneur who repeatedly dreamed that she missed a train. In the dream, she hurried to the station, but by the time she arrived, the carriage doors had already closed. The train pulled away, leaving her standing alone on the platform. That dream woke her with a feeling of emptiness and pain, and it recurred 3 times within a month. But Lara dismissed it, believing it was merely a reflection of work pressure. A few weeks later, she received a partnership invitation from a major company. It was a rare opportunity that could change her career. But Lara hesitated, delayed, and in the end, when she decided to respond, it was too late. The opportunity had gone to someone else. Only then did Lara realize the dream was not random. It had warned her in advance, but she had not listened. Signal dreams always carry urgency. They do not come for you to look at and then discard. They come to force you to make a decision. And when you delay, you lose the moment the quantum field has opened for you, because the timeline waits for no one. This is when you must remember 3 principles. Don't ignore, don't delay, don't doubt. Don't ignore. Because if the dream returns, it is not for you to look away. It returns until you face the message. Don't delay, because opportunities do not stay open forever. Like a radiant door, it opens in a brief moment. If you do not step through, it will close. Don't doubt, because doubt is the greatest enemy. When you doubt the dream, you are also doubting your own capability, and that is the fastest way to miss the turning point. Quantum mechanics teaches us that a possibility exists only until collapse occurs. If you hesitate, you allow that possibility to dissipate and shift to someone else. The universe does not wait for you indefinitely. It gives opportunities to those who are ready to receive. Ask yourself, how many times have you seen a warning dream and failed to act? How many times have you woken with the feeling that something is coming, only to brush it aside? And how many times afterward did you regret not listening? The urgency within the dream is not meant to panic you. It is to remind you that time is limited. The threshold dream does not appear throughout your life. It only comes when you truly stand near the threshold. And when it comes, you must be ready. This may make you shiver. Not every dream returns many times. There are dreams that come only once, like a final transmission. If you miss it, you may never see it again. That is why urgency is the most important pillar. It turns the dream from image into action, from signal into a concrete step. And when you act, you synchronize with the new timeline that the dream has foretold. But the biggest question remains: if you truly listen, if you act the moment the signal appears, then what will open for you? When urgency has knocked, when you have understood that the dream cannot be ignored, the next question is no longer, is this dream real? The question now is, What must I do with it? And the answer does not lie out there. It lies within you. This is the inner call, the call from within. Signal dreams do not come for you to seek answers in the noisy world. They do not tell you to run and ask 10 other people what to do. They do not send you into a maze of doubt. They come to direct you back into yourself, to make you listen to the voice that has always been there, but that you often neglect. Picture this. You are standing in a vast meadow, the wind blowing gently, violet silver light spreading all around, and in that silence, you hear a very faint sound. Not from the outside, but from deep within your heart. That is the inner call. You do not need logic to understand it. You do not need proof. Because the inner call does not rely on reason. It relies on awareness, a certainty that cannot be named, but that you know is real. Just like when you dream of a threshold dream, you wake and know something is approaching. No one needs to convince you, because your body already knows. So what must you do when you hear the inner call? First, remember the dream. Do not let it drift away like a fading memory. Write it down, sketch the image, record the feeling. Every detail is a segment of code, and only by preserving it can you decode it. Next, trust the message. This is the hardest part, because society always teaches you that dreams are just imagination, that you need to be more realistic. But remember, it was a dream that saved a life like Michael's. It was a dream that opened the door for Daniel. Reality is not always out there. Reality begins with what you believe. And finally, prepare for the transition. The inner call does not ask you to plunge recklessly into blind action. It asks you to become still, gather your energy, and be ready when the moment arrives. Like a climber taking one deep breath before stepping onto the summit, you too must prepare a steady state of being to step across the threshold. The inner call is the silence in the music. After the pounding drums of urgency, it is the pause that lets you feel your heartbeat clearly. And in that silence, you realize you have been chosen, and now you must be ready. Someone once said, "When you hear the call within, you don't need the whole world outside to agree. You only need the courage to answer." Ask yourself, have you ever had a dream that made you feel it was not only speaking of the future, but also of yourself? A dream that not only pointed out the path, but awakened something deep within you? If yes, then that was the inner call. When you enter this state, everything seems to quiet down. Doubt dissolves. Fear yields to trust. You feel light as the wind, bright as the moonlight, and deep as the ocean. This is the space where transition is preparing to happen. And if you have dreamed the threshold dream, it means you are standing right before the door. You do not need to search further. You do not need more proof. You only need to breathe, listen, and prepare to step through. Because when the inner call resounds, it is saying, the moment has come, you are ready. But remember, the inner call is not only silence, it is the preparation for the final moment where all signs, all signals, all urgency converge into a single point. What will happen when all possibilities contract, when the threshold becomes the collapse point? Everything you have heard, everything you have dreamed, leads to a single moment. Convergence. Recurring dreams, the ones that return again and again, have knocked at your door, reminding you that something cannot be ignored. The threshold dream, the gateway dream, has made your heart pound, your body shiver, signaling that you are pressing against the edge of eruption. The transmission code, the clear, repeated symbols, has given you the language of the universe. And urgency, the pressing call, has pushed you toward action. None of these exist in isolation. They are all fragments leading you to the convergence. In quantum mechanics, there is a moment called the collapse point. It is when countless possibilities exist simultaneously in a wave state. But finally, all contract into a single reality. Before the collapse point, everything is potential. After the collapse point, everything has become truth. The convergence is the collapse point in your life. It is the moment when every signal dream, every sign, every inner urging converges together, forcing you to face one truth. The time is now. You must choose. Imagine standing at a crossroads of time. Before you stretch three roads. One is familiar, safe, but endlessly repetitive. Another is dark, where you ignore the signs and lose the opportunity. And one is radiant, where the door opens. The signal dream had already shown you that road. And now, at the convergence, you must decide which way to step. This moment does not last long. It is fragile as a heartbeat. It passes as swiftly as lightning. Yet it is enough to reshape your entire timeline. The universe never shouts. It whispers. It sends signals through dreams. And if you have heard them, it means you are already within the convergence zone. Many people have said that before their lives changed completely, they had a dream that made them know for certain, I cannot go back anymore. That is the convergence. When dream and reality are no longer separate, when you wake and still feel as if you are living inside the dream, that is when the collapse point is happening. And here is the frightening yet beautiful truth. No one can step through the convergence for you. Dreams may point the way, the universe may send signals, but in the end, only you can step through the threshold. Only you can make the decision that collapses the timeline into a single reality. Ask yourself, how many times have you stood before a convergence without realizing it? How many times have you missed the collapse point because of doubt or delay? And if this time you have seen the dream, you have heard the signal, are you ready? Convergence is not the end. It is the gathering point where all signs flow into one. It is the point where the universe concentrates its energy to see if you will take the step. It is the final door, and when you step through, your entire life will be reshaped. You must understand, dreams are not just reflections of the mind. They are maps, reminders, urgent signals. And when they all appear together, that is undeniable proof that you have reached the convergence. So what will you do when the collapse point arrives? Will you stand still, letting the possibility dissolve? Or will you step through and let a new reality form? Remember, the universe has told you already through the dreams. It has not left you unprepared. It has readied you. And now, at the convergence, you must answer. When that moment comes, you will know. You will feel it in every heartbeat, in every breath. You will remember the dreams, and you will understand, this is what they had been telling me all along. And then, when you step through the door, you will never return the same. If you have ever seen a dream so vivid that it woke you trembling, with relief, with clarity, or even with haunting intensity, then understand this. It was not random. It was the final transmission from the quantum field, sent to you right before victory entered your life. The threshold dream does not come to frighten you. It does not come to test you without meaning. It comes to tell you that you have reached the threshold. It whispers, do not miss this. Do not hesitate. You are ready to step through. And if you are hearing this, know that you are not alone. You have been chosen to receive the signal. You have moved through the signs, the symbols, the urgency, and now the moment of convergence. Only one last step remains, and when you take it, reality will collapse into a new timeline, the timeline the dream had already shown you. But remember, not every dream signals victory. Some dreams carry an entirely different nature. They do not open the door to success, but strike with the warning of death. These dreams too are signals, but signals you cannot afford to ignore if you wish to keep your life.